The Wilson Doc, the final cut. Richard, did I just get the eye roll from you?
Yeah,
I did. I just got the eye roll. The massive sarcasm, like, Jimmy, check this out. But yeah, the Wilson Doc is a big deal.
I'm going to tell you right now, like I can tell where you're going with this.
I am. You do?
I know you're on John's side here, and you're both completely wrong.
I'm on John's side.
100%.
I'm on the side of truth.
I'm just saying this here, and I'm going to tell you why. You start.
Okay. This is, I mean, John's point. Look, and
is irrelevant.
To be very
NRO document.
To be very clear here, all I do is read everything and absorb everything, and then just try to understand what is going on. And so to John, okay. So, but let's speaking of Greenewald directly. The NRO doc that he did the presentation on.
I think you should explain this.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Let me. There's a document that Stephen Greer revealed. It wasn't in the far distant past. It was in the mid 2000s.
Greer had gotten a 1991 a document purporting to be NRO, and had that and showed this to Wilson. And that was the initial document, according to Greer, that prompted Wilson to go on his hunt for the black budget programs. And John, in his recent analysis, says that he proved that the document is a hoax. Therefore, he calls it foundational, and that therefore, if that document is a hoax, then everything else has got to be a hoax.
And I don't understand Greenewald's definitive line in the sand there, but we'll come back.
Well, it's a huge mistake.
Yeah, we'll come back to that part. But the document is purported to be from 1991. I believe, I could have the dates wrong. I don't have a bunch of complete notes in front of me, but I think that Greer first published this document in 2014 and 2013, 2015. It doesn't matter. The document wasn't revealed to the public in 1991 or anything like that. It's recently been revealed. Now, the problems with the document that John has presented, I have reached the conclusion that the document is bogus. So, but I don't know.
Careful. You should be careful about that conclusion.
Well, but let me give the reasons why. Okay. Right. First off, the most important. There's a long list of stuff that John has presented here. Any one of them throws things off kilter, but the Internal Security Act that is listed there. You know, if you are in violation of this, use of deadly force, whatever. The code that is listed in this document has nothing to do with the National Internal Security Act and stuff. It has the code numbers don't match. The code, which is, I'm looking at the restricted sign that is hanging on my wall, Security 21, Internal Security Act of 1950. 50 USC 797. That's what's on the official sign that is hanging on my wall. What the numbers that are listed in there are something for the Marine Corps and chocolate pudding, not to be used in the cafeteria. It has nothing to do with any kind of security breaches. So that right there couldn't be used in this document. That is a mistake. And whoever created the document obviously didn't know what they were doing. There's that. The second point, forget about the technical side, the wrong logo, the Air Force logo. It's not an NRO logo. NRO wasn't revealed until 1993.
This is painful for me to hear this.
Right. But put that to the side. The list, though, of the organizations that are included in this distribution, half of them are bogus to me. And so if you're going to go down and list...
What do you mean to you? What does that mean?
Cosmic, MJ12, Magic, all of these trigger...
possibly exist.
Trigger word. They don't. Not under those names. And you wouldn't have them on a list like this. If these are the most top secret groups in the world, you are going to put them all in a distribution list? No, it just wouldn't happen that way. And it's all the trigger magic words that, William Moore used. This is like the Doty list. And it smells funky to me. It's just...
All right, so I'm going to stop you. So there are two things here. Now, let's say the document is a hoax. Maybe it is. Maybe it is not, and I'm going to provide a counter argument later why it may not be. But it may be. Maybe John is correct here. And, it's hard for me to get into all the weeds of document analysis. It's not my top expertise, and I'm not going to pretend. Mm-hmm. But John is making a false argument here to begin with. He's making a fruit from the poisoned tree argument, and it's a huge mistake, right? This is an important legal argument, and we want to have this thing legally. So, in other words, if law enforcement obtains evidence against you and it's not obtained legally, there's not proper warrants and so forth, any evidence that they get against you is not admissible in a court of law because that is fruit from a poison tree. That's an important legal protection that citizens require that prevents state overreach, and we want that and we need that, and that's good. Even if that evidence is true, all right, it's not admissible. Anyone who's watched enough episodes of Law & Order has seen that a million times. Can't use that, Jack? Fine. That's fruit from a poison tree. This is absolutely irrelevant when we're talking about historical analysis for several reasons. First of all, it is John who's making this argument that the NRO document is foundational to everyone. No, maybe Greer's making the argument because it's in Greer's interest to pump up the importance of this document. Mm-hmm. But it's absolutely not true to say that the NRO document is why Thomas Wilson went on his 2-month hunt. When you read the Davis notes, the NRO document's not mentioned at all. No one talks about it. Wilson doesn't talk about it to Davis. Davis doesn't bring it up. No one talks about it. Edgar Mitchell in his interviews never brought it up either. And by the way, Mitchell's testimony is vastly more important than anything that, this NRO document represents. You've got Mitchell multiple times in the first decade of this century stating that Wilson went looking for these programs. He actually talked about it. He didn't use Wilson's name, but he talked about the admiral. It was obvious what he's talking about. But the fact is, John's saying Wilson would never have accepted this. He would have known this is fake. Who was he to say that Wilson would have known this? You don't know that. Wilson wasn't a professional bureaucrat. Wilson was a Navy man. He's put into the position as deputy head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs. And he gets this statement from Greer. He was clearly interested in the UFO subject. We have this as a statement from Will Miller. We have a statement from Greer. We have a statement from Mitchell that Wilson was into this. All right. And by the way, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So Wilson goes looking. The NRO document, I don't understand why people are accepting this argument that this is foundational to everything else.
No, I don't think it's foundational
It's absolutely irrelevant. There's nothing, it has no relevancy toward Wilson's search. And when he's talking to Davis in the notes, how does he get his information? He's talking to retired Secretary of Defense William Perry, and he's talking to other former members of the senior review group in the Pentagon who have knowledge of this. That's what he's telling Davis.
Well, okay.
No mention of the NRO document anywhere. So it's clearly not that important.
So let me say this. The Wilson Davis doc is dated 10/16/2002, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Greer didn't produce this document until 2014. The document itself if it was in any way authentic or real, it would have been produced by Greer a long time ago.
Who are you to talk for Stephen Greer? Why don't you ask him yourself?
Well, but my point is, I think the NRO document is fake and is not a real document. It's not an authentic document. Therefore,
I'm gonna jump in here.
But no, let me finish. No,
because what you're saying may not be true.
Okay,
it actually may not be true.
Okay, but let me get my thought out.
Right.
The document didn't exist for Stephen Greer to show Wilson in 1997. It didn't exist. It didn't. Therefore, it didn't cause Wilson to go on his goose chase.
Wait. What are you saying? The document didn't exist in 1997?
I just don't think that it did. Why?
Well, it's dated. It's purportedly. It's dated July 1991.
It could say 1963. I don't give a crap. It didn't exist in 1991. It's a fake document. So it didn't cause Wilson to do any
Greer
of these
obviously
things.
had it in 97 when he showed it to Wilson.
No, that's who showed it. I'm saying
so you
he
don't
didn't.
Think he did?
No.
Maybe he didn't.
I'm telling you.
Maybe actually he didn't. Now, I mean, it's only Greer who's saying that he showed it to Wilson.
That is correct.
Yeah. So then Wilson would have gone on his wild goose chase for some other reason that had nothing to do with the NRO document.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we even talking about this NRO document? How is it even relevant to the conversation?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't understand the
how
connection.
Is this evidence that the whole thing is a hoax?
Okay, so let's back up. Let me state my position. I believe that Greenewald is absolutely correct and effective. I don't think anybody understands documents more than John Greenewald.
There may be people who do.
Right. But I have to.
John is an expert, but no one is the final word, particularly when you are dealing with the labyrinthian situation of the United States intelligence community and the black budget world and waived programs and carved out programs. All right. There's a lot that is not known.
Sure. But in support of your position that this NRO document shouldn't be tied to or be foundational to this, I'm taking it a step further. It's not only not foundational, it has nothing to do with the Wilson Davis doc. Wilson never saw the document. It didn't exist. It was only published in 2014. And if it was that important and that real and that authentic, Stephen Greer would have been waving this around a long time ago.
Maybe you should ask Greer. I mean, I don't know if you get a straight answer or not, but you should. I don't know if I would make that inference that you are making, but I do agree with you that the NRO document is completely irrelevant. And, I like John thinks I may be mad at him. I'm not mad at John Greenewald. I've known John for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I've respected him. I like him. And I did not want to, he said, well, Dolan blew me off from my show. Look, I didn't want to do it because honestly, John, I respect him. But on this matter, I feel he is absolutely obstinate to the point of like mystification here. I don't understand it. And I don't believe that it's going to be anything other than a pissing match, and I'm just not interested in doing that with him. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe he can come onto my show. Maybe he can come onto my channel. Maybe that's what we'll do. I'm not opposed to talking with John, but I don't want to make this because I don't. He says that he is open to all options. I don't believe that is the case because he's never been. He's been hostile to this from the beginning, and I just don't think that. And now he's latching onto this NRO thing as if it's a legitimate argument. What does that tell you? It's not a legitimate argument to make against the authenticity of these Davis notes. It's irrelevant. Why is he making it a big thing? Why is this some foundational thing? It's not foundational. Having said that, I'm just going to mention this. So on my website, Richard Dolan Members, one cool thing that we've got is a forum. And the reason that this is amazing, because I'll tell you right now, the people who are members of my site have got way more brain power than I've got. All right. I don't know how I got to be so lucky. I've got brilliant, genius level people hanging out there. And the forum is their opportunity to dish out their own research, to argue. We've got moderators. It's closed. It's usually polite, not always, but people do their best. And there's been a whole thread on John's analysis here. All right. Now, these people who are commenting go deeper than I would go. And by the way, there's at least one guy who's defending John on this thread on my site, but there's very, very strong critiques as well. And I don't know if I want to go into the whole thing here, because there's some long ones. I'm looking at them. But suffice to say that his argument is not necessarily the final word. And I could leave it at that, or I can read some of these counter arguments against him. But the point is, there are intelligent, informed, knowledgeable people who have experience in the classified world who are not buying what John is saying here. It's not the final word necessarily. He may be right in the long run, but to just say, like, what happens is people I think are intimidated. When John Greenewald, he's Mr. FOIA, everyone knows he's got the black vault. No one wants to argue with John on documents. I get it. I don't want to argue with John on documents. Right. But there are people who are able to. And whether they are right or wrong, I do not know. But I do know that there are intelligent, highly articulate counter arguments to what he's saying about that particular document. Having said all of that, his whole fruit from the poisoned tree argument about this does not apply to historical research. It's totally wrong. He's totally wrong to bring this up. It is not foundational to Eric Davis's notes, because there's actually no evidence, as you have pointed out, and I agree with you, that Thomas Wilson even saw the damn document. We have Stephen Greer saying that it was a big deal. That's all we got. Wilson actually made no statement in those notes that Davis wrote. There is no reason to believe that the document that Greer purportedly showed Wilson was the thing that triggered. Maybe it helped him find one program. Maybe it didn't. According to the notes that Davis wrote, Wilson found 4 special access programs buried that had to do, he said, with ET or something related to UFOs, and that he spoke directly to the program manager, the security manager, and the corporate attorney of one of those 4 programs, and that's when he got blown off. So that's all of that's in the notes, but none of that refers to the NRO document. So it's a huge mistake to make this NRO document some kind of foundational say. I have never said it's foundational. I may have mentioned that Greer had it, but there's no case to be made that this NRO document has any relevancy whatsoever to anything else that followed.
So, my conclusion, and we can move on from this. There's too many other things to.
There's other things we want to get into.
Yeah, I just think that I don't think the document is real. I don't think it has any relevancy to the Wilson Davis doc. I don't understand the connection. Greenewald laid out his case.
Here's the thing. So the phrase NRO was an open secret after 1971, and the acronym NRO was actually declassified in 1979.
Correct.
Right? So the acronym was used. The U.S. Air Force was used as a cover for the NRO. All right. So it's according to the analysis that I've got here, it is just false to insinuate otherwise. The Air Force was there on those documents, and the type. There's one minor typo on that document. That is true, where it says, as per the Espionage Act, and it says 30 USC 31 and 32. It should read 50 USC,
which is what I have on 50 USC 797, section 21, which doesn't have anything to do with chocolate pudding in the Marine cafeterias. But anyway, moving on, Richard. Putting this NRO document aside, right. Speaking about the document itself specifically, there's one.
Are we talking about the NRO document?
No, we're talking about Wilson. NRO's off the table. It's bogus.
Fine.
It's bogus.
That was a waste of time.
Yep. Greenewald, I think, successfully presented his case. It's a hoax document. That's my conclusion.
The problem, though, is that he's using an irrelevant document to try to discredit these notes.
No, my point.
Why bother doing that?
Richard, my point has nothing to do with Greenewald, has everything to do with the document itself, and that's that distribution list. The fantasy. Who was that guy? Who is that guy that
why
served?
Why is this relevant? Like you're giving space to this as well. Like this is not a legit argument to make against Davis's notes.
No, has nothing to do with Davis's notes.
We're just wasting up valuable air here.
Yes, we are 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I love this guy. I swear.
Watch more podcast clips now on our YouTube channel. Go to Livewire Podcast Clips and watch more great podcast videos just like this one.